Hello students. Welcome to our Senior Secondary School 2 Physics lesson. Today, we will be learning about heat energy, temperature and its measurements. But before we proceed, let's quickly recap what we learned in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson, we defined mechanical energy. We understood the principle of conservation of mechanical energy, explained the concept of kinetic and potential energy and their applications. We also went further to solve quick problems. And it was exciting. Before we begin today's lesson, let's take a quick rundown of our lesson objectives. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to define heat energy and temperature and explain how heat can be transferred. Understand the difference between heat and temperature. Describe the effect of heat on matter. We will also explain the measurement of temperature. Are you ready? Let's proceed. Heat is a form of energy called thermal energy. It is transferred from one object to another due to a difference in temperature. Heat is referred to as a form of energy because it can do some work. And what are those works? It can cook our food, dry our clothes, warm our homes, and it is even used by industries for shaping, softening, cutting and coating metals. Sources of heat energy. Heat energy can come from various sources, including the sun, the primary natural source of heat. Heat produced by the sun is called solar heat. Friction. When objects rub against each other, they produce heat. Chemical reactions. Burning fuels like wood, coal, or gas generates heat. Electrical energy. Electrical appliances like heaters and stoves produce heat when electricity passes through them. Geothermal energy. Renewable energy taken from the Earth's core, seen in hot springs and volcanoes. Methods of heat transfer. Heat can be transferred in three ways. By conduction. This is a transfer of heat through direct contact, occurs mainly in solids. For example, when a metal spoon is placed in a hot pot, it eventually gets hot from the handle. By convection. It is the transfer of heat in liquids and gases by the movement of heated particles. Example, boiling water. And by radiation. This is the transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves without needing a medium. Example, the heat from the sun reaching Earth. Now that we understand heat energy, let's talk about temperature. Temperature is the measure of degree of hotness or coldness in a body. Now let's look at the difference between heat and temperature. Heat and temperature are often confused with each other, but they are different. Heat energy is a form of energy, while temperature measures how hot or cold an object is. Heat energy is measured in joules, while temperature is measured in degrees. Heat energy depends on mass and type of substance, while temperature does not depend on mass. Heat energy can be transferred while temperature cannot be transferred. Let's look at the effect of heat on matter. Heat energy affects matter in different ways. Heat can change both physical and chemical properties of an object. It can increase the temperature of a body. It can change the state of a body from solid to liquid, and liquid to vapor. It can cause the emission of electrons from the surface of a metal. It can cause the expansion of a conductive body. Measurement of temperature. Temperature is measured by an instrument called thermometer. The various thermometers make use of thermometric substances which change with the changes in temperature. There are various types of thermometers. Here are some used mostly. Mercury in glass thermometer. This uses mercury as its thermometric substance. Alcohol thermometer. Uses alcohol instead of mercury as its thermometric substance. Digital thermometer. Uses electronic sensors for accurate readings. Infrared thermometer. Measures temperature without direct contact. Gas thermometer. Uses gas expansion and contraction to measure temperature. A thermoelectric thermometer, or thermocouple, measures temperature using two different metal wires joined together. It uses current flowing. Now temperature scales. To measure temperature, we use different scales and instruments. There are three main temperature scales: Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit. Celsius scale, also called centigrade temperature scale. Here, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Kelvin, the absolute temperature scale. Here, water freezes at 273 Kelvin and boils at 373 Kelvin. Fahrenheit, where 0 Kelvin is the lowest possible temperature. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Conversion of temperature. Let's learn how to convert Kelvin temperature to Celsius temperature, and also Celsius temperature to Kelvin temperature. The formula for converting Celsius to Kelvin is K equals C plus 273, where K is Kelvin, C is Celsius, and 273 is the freezing point of Kelvin. Let's solve using an example. Convert 25 degrees Celsius to Kelvin. Here the Celsius value is 25 degrees Celsius. Solution: K equals 25 degrees Celsius plus 273, which gives us 298 Kelvin. Now, converting Kelvin to Celsius. The formula to convert Kelvin to Celsius is C equals K minus 273. Let's solve using an example. Convert 300 Kelvin to Celsius. The Kelvin value is 300. Solution: substituting the values. C equals K, which is Kelvin minus 273. C equals 300 Kelvin minus 273. Therefore C equals 27 degrees Celsius. This can also be calculated using the scientific calculator. Let's see the applications of heat energy and temperature measurement. Heat energy and temperature measurement are used in cooking. Heat cooks food. Weather forecasting. Meteorologists measure temperature to predict weather conditions. Medicine. Doctors measure body temperature to diagnose illnesses. Engineering. Heat expansion is considered in construction and manufacturing. And so much more. Heat energy and temperature measurement play important roles in everyday life. Now it's your turn. Here are 2 quick practice problems. Give them a shot. Remember to pause the screen and solve the problem. Great job so far. Let's recap. Heat is a form of energy called thermal energy. Heat is transferred through conduction, convection, and radiation. Temperature is a measure of how hot or cold a substance is. And temperature is measured using thermometers. In our next lesson, we will be learning about gas laws. Well done. You've come to the end of this lesson. Keep practicing what you've learned. I will see you in the next lesson.